Good afternoon. How are you? And welcome to another episode of DeadLine. Today we're blessed to have the pleasure of having one of the winningest coaches, one of 200 coaches in the city of Newark to have 100 wins, Frank Verducci from Barringer High School. How are you today, Coach?
Great. Good
Okay.
morning. Yes, sir.
We want to get right into it. Can you explain or can you take us through a story of how coming through the Newark public school system and then revolving into coaching came about?
Well, I was one of five, and of course my mother was, an immigrant from Italy. She didn't speak the language or anything, and my oldest brother Tony, he, my mother stressed education, and he loved sports, especially football, and he was the one that was instrumental in me wanting to play football. I don't think I should have ever played. I was too small. But the evolution of sports and being an American, a true American, was at that time. I was born in '33. It was right after the Great Depression. 1940-41 came about World War II. We weren't looked upon favorably, the Italians. We were the low people on the rung, but my mother always stressed that this was the land of opportunity. We looked at it as we were Americans. We didn't like to say Italian American, but we had some rough sledding.
How was Newark at that particular time from an ethnic perspective? Was it one ward, 5 wards, or?
Well, back in the day, you really didn't see the total picture. You looked at just your home base. So you were told what school to go to. You could have gone to either a public school or a private school. Of course, we couldn't afford a private school, so we went to the public school, and you walked.
What private schools might have been around during that time, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh yes, there was Newark Academy on First Street, which was close by.
The one that's in Livingston now?
Yes, they were on Orange and First Street, and there was, of course, the Catholic schools. Okay. Newark must have had, my God, 15, 20 schools.
Really?
Back in the day, yes. But we were strictly public education.
How was the competition far as the private sector and the public school sector? How was the competition? Did you all compete against each other, or they were two different levels?
No, they couldn't compare. The private schools couldn't compare with the public schools. God, Newark was so big at the time, and of course they were divided into wards.
Okay.
And we only had one board of education. See, people don't realize that. We had our own city league. And let me say this, the powers to be were more interested in education, not athletics. Newark was never, ever primarily looking for athletes.
Really?
Or looking at, yeah.
Did you have superior athletes at that particular time?
Yes. Oh, God, yes. I mean, in every aspect, even boxing, it was an art back in the day. In fact, we had boxing courses in grammar school.
Really?
Yes. It was called combatives.
Okay.
How to protect yourself.
Okay.
So there was no such word as bullying back then.
So there was a reason to have combative sports back there in order to let the extra aggression and things out of young adolescents at that time.
Yes.
It was a part of the curriculum.
Well said. It was innate.
Okay.
It was a part of life.
Okay.
In other words, the strong always took over from the
Would
weak.
you, being that you're a graduate of Barringer High School, which let it be known that is a one of the oldest high schools in the United States of America, what were some of the people that went to school with you, or should I say some of your mentors that before you, besides for your brother? Can you parlay on your brother a little bit, what he was doing in his circle at that time?
Well, see, back in the day, I want to say the early '40s, Harry Smith. There were so many people. I hate to just mention a few names because there were so many of them.
Is that Harry Smith, the former president of Essex County College?
Yes. J. Harry Smith. He was a halfback. Oh, him and Vicky Key. Oh God, they were great. But see, they used to walk right by my house on Lake Street, going to Branchbrook Park to practice.
Lake Street.
Yes.
That's North Newark.
Yes, Barringer was on Parker and Park Avenue, Parker Street and Park Avenue. And they had to walk down to Branchbrook Park on Lake Street to practice. Mm-hmm. And of course, I was,
the high school heroes.
Yes.
Neighborhood heroes at that particular time.
Yeah, when they came by with their helmets, I wanted to put the helmet on.
Being that this is Black History Month, for everyone that doesn't know, we're filming in Black History Month, and we also like to give homage to two individuals that would be very much foremost on the show, and that would be the Honorable but late Donald Payne Sr., and most definitely, which should be a surprise, but definitely would be a great treat, we have Andre Tippett, which is of Barringer High School, and that was one of Coach Fiduci's players that represents the city of Newark, which is the third oldest city in America, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll parlay on that there of how was Donald Payne as a teammate, a peer, a guy that you grew up with, playing baseball and everything else with. How was he as a person, and did you see these things coming about with him at that early age?
Well, let me say this. Donald was an exceptional person, not only because he became a congressman. I knew him as a peer. Great. He was a brother.
Okay.
He was a true brother and a true leader, and his brother,
William.
Oh, he was tougher.
Really?
He was tougher than Donald.
Oh.
Yeah, he was in the same. I think he was in the same class as my sister.
Okay.
And Donald was 6 months behind me.
Okay.
Back in the day, you graduated both in January and June. The classes were so large.
Really?
Yes. And speaking of Barringer, this is what people didn't understand. Newark was a metropolis.
Okay.
And it was the only high school. It was called Newark High School.
I've read that.
And then Henry Barringer was the principal. I guess they loved the guy, and
his name was Barringer?
Named the school after him, Barringer High School. But like you mentioned, it was the third oldest high school, and there was a lot of pride.
Really?
And no prejudice.
Were there any other high schools around during your time that was as competitive, or was Barringer High still as dominant as it was when I was coming through school in the 70s?
Well, see, in my day, there was the City League. See, of course, I don't remember the old Barringer. I saw pictures of the teams, and they used to play all over the state and out of state.
Really?
And they didn't play 9 games like we eventually played. But I was part of the City League.
Okay.
And the City League at the time was a good league. I was telling a young man one time, I said, imagine if I could have coached Barringer and only had the athletes from Newark. I said, they'd have had to put us in the NFL. I said, listen, I want to say this. The kids made me.
Okay.
We had great athletes. Always.
Is that Newark per se, or just Barringer always?
No, Newark.
Okay.
Newark. See, the thing is, who got the best publicity? See?
Okay.
And I hate to say this, certain wards were known for basketball.
Okay.
Barringer had no basketball. Listen to this.
You were a basketball coach too, weren't you?
I was a basketball coach, but we had no basketball until, excuse me, until I grew up. A young man died playing basketball. The gym was so small, he hit the parallel bars. And after that, they stopped basketball at Barringer. So if you were a basketball player and you went to Barringer, there was no team.
There was no future for you.
Right. And then when I was in school, of course, they had basketball. They had some good. In fact, I forget the name of Drury. He wound up coaching at Shabazz.
Really?
At Southside.
At that time.
Yeah, right, and had some great teams. Yeah, Jack Drury.
Okay.
He was a little.
I've heard that name.
He was a little younger than me.
Okay.
But the history of Newark is second to no one. A lot of jealousy.
Speaking on that, Coach, Newark's City League is very, very unique in the fact that in this state, it's the only city league. Correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I don't want to drift too far on that there, but I want to drift on the fact that you're Newark born, you're Newark educated, and as an educator, what made you come back as an educator to teach in the city of Newark where you come from?
Oh, I wanted to give back. You would say roots.
Yes.
We had roots in Newark. We loved Newark, and you had your own little ghetto.
Yes.
I tell people this, and they say, don't say it, don't say that. We didn't have a bathroom. We were so poor before the war that Newark had what they called bathhouses. And there was a bathhouse on Clifton Avenue right inside of Branchbrook Park. And you paid a nickel. And you got 3 minutes to take a shower.
Everyone that was in that sector?
In that sector. And the people were so poor, but so nice. Back then, they helped one another. It was really a family.
Ethnically and culturally.
Well, you see, I don't like to say ethnically. I like to say culturally. Ethnically is division.
Yes.
Why did God make white, brown, yellow, red? And all we do is divide, but yet we're all one.
I would say a variety, just like ice cream, but they're all ice cream.
Exactly. If you went for a transplant, you don't say, no, it has to be an Italian.
Yes.
Or it has to be blue eyes, or hey, whatever you need.
Yes.
God willing, and we're all God's children. People don't even like when I used to say that. See, we always started every game with a prayer. Well, you can't. You have to separate church and state.
Yes.
But still, no. There are certain rules and regulations, human, that we live by.
I have found that football is a kid's game, but the lessons that you learn from it can take you so far in life because it teaches you to tackle that you feel that is your dream to accomplish. It teaches you to catch the opportunities that come at you. And most importantly, last, when you're knocked down, you have to get up and start all over again.
That's well said. See, I think I was unique. I wasn't smart. I wasn't an A student, but I wanted to be human in what I read. And I'll never forget The Wizard of Oz. I read The Wizard of Oz. And in teaching and coaching, I employed what I learned from The Wizard of Oz. There are three things: a mind, a heart, and courage. And those are the three things that I felt you need to coexist and to live. And in sports, oh my God, the brain is the most important one.
Yes.
We were taught everything filters through the brain.
So that throws to